What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Paul. I make videos about Japanese society, life, and culture from the viewpoint of a long-term foreign resident. I've been in Japan for 20 years, and today's topic is 5 things that most people don't consider when they think about living in Japan as a long-term foreign resident. And I should let you know that the 5th one I'm going to talk about is probably my most controversial take, so stick around until then. But without further ado, let's get right into the first one, which is, if you live in Japan as a long-term foreign resident, one thing you probably haven't considered is that you're going to lose friends. Not talking about the friends back in your country of origin, that's on you whether you keep in touch with them or not. I'm talking about friends that you make from other foreign countries in Japan. And you're going to lose them because the truth of the matter is most foreign residents go home. They leave Japan. Some go on to a new country, but most go back to their country of origin. So, over my time here, I've had a lot of really close friends leave. And the reason why foreign residents leave, there's really 2 big reasons. The first is career prospects. Japan has a lot of jobs for foreigners who are okay with, doing some factory work or for like teaching English in a language school, that sort of thing. But if you want an actual career where you're going to have advancement in salary and benefits and retirement, maybe be able to move up the chain of command into management, etc., it's really hard to do that as a foreign resident. And so many foreign residents leave for career prospects. Now, it is possible, like if you have really specialized skills, like you're an engineer or something. But for the most part, if there's a job and it's being applied for by Taro Suzuki and Bill Smith, again, unless you have a really specific reason to hire a foreigner, or they have a really specific skill, like if they're an engineer, Taro Suzuki is going to get the job over Bill Smith because they're a known quantity. They are going to be assumed to be able to speak high-level Japanese, be able to function in the culture, especially business culture of Japan. And even if Bill Smith can do those things, it's not necessarily assumed, Taro Suzuki is the safer choice. The second reason foreigners leave Japan is because, well, they find that the society, the culture, the lifestyle isn't for them. They prefer something else. And I've had friends that have left for both reasons. They decided that they wanted to pursue a career that they couldn't have here, or they just decided that the culture or society, the norms here were not something that they were comfortable with, the idea of spending the rest of their life here. And that's just the case. There's a phrase that my grandfather told me once. My maternal grandfather lived to be 98, and he once said to me, "Paul, the worst thing about being 98 is all your friends are dead." I've had that thought, like, if I stay here until my elder years, it's like, Paul, the worst thing about being a long-term resident in Japan is all your friends have left. Obviously, you can belay that if you make a lot of Japanese friends, and then you don't have to worry about that so much. But the truth is, I've had good friends leave, and long-term foreign residents like myself and like many of the people who come down into my comments section who watch my videos, we are not the norm. Even when you hear about immigration rates in Japan going up and foreign resident rates going up, it's still mostly short-term stays for most of the people. Okay, the second thing that many people don't consider when they think about living, I think in Japan especially, is it all becomes mundane eventually. It just seems to be a part of human psychology to normalize everything, get into habits, and get into routines. Meaning, even as exotic or different as Japan might be compared to where you're coming from, it is going to become normal. And the longer you're here, the more it'll just be kind of mundane, day-to-day routine. You wake up, you go to work, you run some errands, you pay some bills, you go home, eat dinner, you watch Netflix, go to sleep, and repeat every day. It just becomes completely normalized. And I think people have this image that, like, especially from social media, that Japan is always an adventure and you're always able to experience new things with the culture, etc. But in the day-to-day, that's not really the case. And to be honest with you, the real reason I started this YouTube channel was not to become a YouTuber. It was because the act of putting out a video every week, having to think about, okay, why do I love this culture so much? What is it I like about the society here? What is it about the people that I really find intriguing? The history, etc., etc. Having to think about those things every week to come up with a video topic is always taking me out of that mundane everyday routine, meaning I'm always reconnecting with Japan. I'm always reconnecting with the culture in a way that I wouldn't otherwise be doing. So I actually think that a lot of smaller YouTubers in Japan are, whether they've thought about it this way or not, are doing their YouTube channel because of this, because it helps you connect with your love for this country in a different way. And yeah, we can't all be the YouTubers who do like luxury resorts and spend $1,000 on crane games and stuff like that. But for me, YouTube is about stepping out of my day-to-day routine, walking around a neighborhood that I wouldn't normally be bothering to walk around, and reconnecting with the culture. Okay, before I get into the third thing, I just want to say that I made a video earlier this week where I asked viewers like you for questions, because my video that I'm going to release on October 11th is answering viewer questions. So if you didn't see that video, I'll link it below, and it's also the video I made just before releasing this one, so you can probably find it that way. If you want to ask me a question, by all means, go to the comments section of that video, ask me a question, and wait for the answer on October the 11th. Also, please subscribe and have the notifications bell ready, because you wouldn't want to ask a question and then miss the video where I actually answer your question. So yeah, be sure you subscribe, hit the like button on this one, share this video. Basically, it's the best way to help this channel grow, and I really appreciate that kind of support, and it's free. So please do those things. And if you do want to support the channel directly, I do have some sponsors below. You can take Japanese lessons, or you can order curated Japanese snack boxes, or you can give directly with the thanks button, or become a member of the channel, that sort of thing. But really, the like, subscribe, and the sharing is what really helps the channel to grow and helps me out. The third thing that people don't really consider might happen when they move to Japan is you begin to have a really distorted view of your country of origin if you've been here for a while. And the reasons for this are many, but chief among them are things like media, social media, the people you associate with here, both foreigners and Japanese. And I think this is especially true if you're American, because American media and news dominates worldwide. And so what ends up happening is you begin to have this view of your country through the lens of these media outlets and social media, etc., so that you begin to get this idea that your home country has really changed or become something really different. And so it happened to me on a number of occasions where I returned to the US thinking that things were going to be really different because of what I'd seen on social media or in the news. And it wasn't. I got to my hometown and thought, okay, the road construction, moved a few streets over. They tore that building down. But like socially, and the way people interact and what they're talking about hasn't changed at all. And at first that surprised me, but then I came to the realization that, when you're not living in a place, you lose touch with what life is like on the ground, and so you're filling that in your mind with these other things that you're getting from media. And for instance, if you're from the States again, like I'm from the Midwest, I was associating with people from the East Coast and like Colorado and Washington State, etc. And so people are coming from different experiences and have different ideas or images of their home area. And so like they were influencing me. When I lived here, the first years that I was here was 2002 to 2005. So the Iraq War started, and there was the Bush-Kerry election and all that. And the way the media portrayed everything had me feeling like, wow, life on the ground in America must really be different now. And then I went back and found that it wasn't different at all. But again, I'm from a mid-sized Midwestern city, so if you're from New York, big city that seems to always be redefining itself, yeah, that might change a lot. But in my experience, I would go back and be like, oh, it really isn't that different. I know other long-termers are listening to me say this and are nodding their heads, because I think it's something that we've all experienced, and you don't necessarily expect that that's going to happen. The fourth thing that you may not realize about Japan before moving here is that Japanese popular culture moves really quickly. You can be gone for a month and come back and find that different celebrities are in, different people are on TV, different musicians are popular. The most popular anime has changed to something else. I think it's because of this stereotype of Japan as a place that doesn't change and kind of keeps its culture, and they don't change unless something drastic happens. That might be true if we're talking about like government and bureaucracy and that kind of thing, but when it comes to popular culture, it moves at the speed of light here, and what is popular now is not going to be popular very much longer. And I think that affects foreigners moving here initially, because you might have become interested in Japan for some very specific popular culture reasons, like musicians that you like or an anime that you love, and then you get here and you realize that it's like super old news, and no one really cares about that anymore. Obviously there's cultural touchstones that have been popular for a very long time, like in the anime realm, Evangelion's not gone anywhere, and artists like Aiko are still singing the same kind of songs they've been doing for decades. But for the most part, it's actually a little surprising how kind of breakneck speed the culture changes here. Okay, I'm gonna turn around and head back the way I came from, and I just want to add the last one, which is, as I mentioned, maybe my most controversial take, which is, when you've lived here a long time, something you might not consider or even believe possible when you visited here as a tourist or you've lived here for a short time, Japanese food becomes boring. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Japanese food. I'm not trying to say anything negative about Japanese food. What I'm trying to say, I think, is best illustrated by an analogy that a friend told me, which I thought worked really well. And she was saying that Japanese food is like meeting your best friends. And what I took that to mean is that you love your best friends. You enjoy getting together with your best friends. When you have your best friends over, you have a good time together. And those people are very special to you. However, they're also a known thing. They're always the same. Like when you have them over, you know what to expect. You know the jokes that are going to be told. You know how the interaction is going to happen. It's like a well-worn pair of sneakers that just fits your feet perfectly, right? But what's missing is any kind of adventure, any kind of difference, any kind of like fun of trying new things, because the standard Japanese foods are pretty much the same everywhere. And I mean, if you think about it, the basis for Japanese cuisine, they always talk about it's sugar, mirin, soy sauce, miso, sake. Like many of the sauces and flavorings are made out of that, and rice and noodles are the main staples. And even if you get into regional differences, these areas that are famous for this, that, and the other thing, it's very often things like the udon noodles of this region are chewier than the usual udon noodles, or in this area the yakisoba is special because they put a certain type of mushroom into the mix, or it's not really that different. I mean, I'm going to call out Yokosuka, the city to the south of Yokohama. Their thing down there is Yokosuka Navy curry, which is kind of a call out to the history, because British Navy curry is what was adopted by the Japanese Navy, and so Japanese curry as you know it today, like kokoichi and just homemade Japanese curry, comes from that Navy tradition. If you go to Yokosuka, where the Navy bases are, both American and Japanese, they have Yokosuka Navy curry, which means you get to pay an extra amount of money for Japanese curry. I'm going to be honest with you, it just tastes like ordinary curry. So you've just paid a premium for ordinary food. But it's famous, and so you got to go down there and try it. It's like you just met your best friend, and you know, they changed themselves by putting a wig on or something, and that's the only thing they changed. Actually, that's a bad analogy. A better analogy would be you have lunch with your best friend, and you had to pay for them for some reason. And so, yeah, you've just paid extra to hang out with your best friend. Yeah, so what? It's hard to have an adventure with Japanese food. Basically, Japanese don't do spice. I mean, there's kind of a spice craze these days where like they're having spicy chicken and spicy potato chips in the convenience stores. It's like they put some pepper on it and red food coloring. Like if you actually like spicy food, it's not really spicy. Most of the restaurants you go here, if you're trying to get non-Japanese cuisine, they're very sanitized for Japanese tastes. Like, if you live here, you know what I'm talking about. If you go to a Chinese restaurant in Japan or an Indian restaurant in Japan, you have the menu memorized. They all serve exactly the same things, despite being two countries that have a huge diversity of foods. In Japan, no. It's one menu. Like, you go to the Chinese restaurant, you're gonna have ebichiri, you're gonna have maybe jinjaros, you're gonna have maybe tantan men, some gyoza, that kind of thing. Or if you go to the Indian restaurant, it's butter chicken curry or dal. You know, you're gonna get the naan or the garlic cheese naan or whatever. They all have the same menu. So they're your best friends, but it can get a little bit repetitive. Sometimes you just want something a little different. Okay, those are my 5 things. Thank you for checking out this particular video. I hope you found it was interesting. If you've gotten this far and you still haven't hit the like button or subscribed, what are you doing? Now is your chance. But at the end of the day, I really want to thank you for watching this particular video. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.